Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to SJU. It's Monday. A thing we've said wouldn't happen might happen. Wonder Woman might go to HBO Max. We're going to break all that down, get our discuss on. Plus, something horrifying might happen. A live-action Lilo and Stitch, which just the idea sends shivers down my spine. We've got some Thor, Love and Thunder stuff to talk about. And then stick around. We will be answering your questions from the chat, plus a little goodness from Marvel 616 on Disney+. I've got an Eric Goldman with me. Hello, sir.
Hello there.
And I have Spencer J. Gilbert with me. Hey, man.
Hey, happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday, sir. I want to get you, like, instead of just the headphones, like a bunch of cool, like, cyberpunk, like, jacks that, like, plug in from every... Like,
sure.
I think that
I actually have the spinal column plug in Existence.
Ooh, a good Existence reference today. Thank you.
Very good. It's always good to start off a day and a week with a good Existence reference.
It's Cronenberg week here on SJU. Get ready.
Oh, yeah.
David Cronenberg was in Jason X, a movie I watched this weekend, so it all connects.
Yeah. It's Cronenberg week. Speaking of Cronenberg, so the window for Warner Brothers time to make a decision on Wonder Woman 84 is rapidly closing. This is Viva Variety, but also first reported by presidential candidate or nominee Michael Bloomberg's company.
Michael, he reported it himself, by the way.
He got on. It was crazy.
He was on the Warner Brothers lot, right? Warner Brothers in Burbank.
Yeah, it was he was debating Elizabeth Warren about public health care and then dropped this gem
right there. That's big.
from the podium.
I love two things: centrism and scoops.
Scoops. Oh, the saddest identity for Scoops.
He should have ran on the Scoops campaign, guys.
So, about 6 weeks now before Wonder Woman 84 is scheduled to open in theaters on Christmas, Warner Brothers executives are considering whether to push the superhero sequel to the summer of 2021 or keep the movie on its December 25th theatrical debut and then put it on HBO Max in early January. So this is according to Variety sources that have knowledge of the plans. The film has had numerous theatrical release dates now, just like every movie from this year, right, kid? It was June 5th, then it was August 14th, then it was October 2nd, and then finally Christmas Day, December 25th. But hey guys, here's an oldie but goodie. COVID-19 cases continuing to spike at alarming rates across the country. Warner Brothers is now facing another widespread shutdown, or the possibility of one, especially in major urban areas, that would drive the vast majority of the theatrical business. So, in its third quarter, sorry, I'm going to get all the bleh out of the way, and then we'll vamp. In its third quarter, Warner Media reported that HBO Max had 8.6 million total activations with 38 million subscribers. To HBO and HBO Max combined. And while that exceeded expectations for the year, HBO Max still trails its competitors by considerable margins. For context, Disney Plus just hit 73 million subscribers, right around its 1 year mark. Their stock also went up despite recording over $700 billion in losses in their Q4 report. So,
700 billion?
That's what
is that a with a B?
With a B, with a parks are closed.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when you think that, like, one MCU movie is $1 billion, and then like all the other things they have, and
all right, hold on. That was a typo by me. It is million.
Yeah. I had a feeling.
I double checked. I was like, that does sound way too high. That's a mistake.
70?
710 million.
It says 700 quadruple in the
and
it says credits like
if
Star
you
Wars.
convert that using metric system, I was pretty close, but it is $710 million loss is what the report was in Q4. I'm doing a great job.
They lost.
I
a
actually
lot of
still think it would be more than that, so I am actually impressed that it's.
You know what? It's just
for the
continued proof that I'll just read what's on the page, man. It's fine. I don't actually understand what it means.
I always figured you just copied and pasted, but no, you're hand transcribing it like an illuminated manuscript in the Dark Ages.
I copy and paste and I take out all the journalist jargon. They use a lot of adjectives that are just so unnecessary.
But also, you're like, this number sounds better.
Yeah, I like
just the facts, Ryan.
It's in our headline.
I make Ryan go through these scripts like he's an archaeologist brushing a dinosaur bone out of the sand. No copy paste here, baby. So
Did I just break it like the villain from Suicide Squad?
Whoops.
Yep. Ryan is in his home right now going like this because he's the enchantress. So basically, here's where this puts us. We've been saying, all year, like, oh God, Wonder Woman, it's so much money, like there's so much box office resting on the shoulders of that thing. But here we are, we're at the end of the year, and people still can't really go do things, and so we're now faced with this ultimate. It feels very similar to the AMC window deal, where it's like, okay, we'll put it out for a minute and then very quickly drop it on like Amazon Prime into VOD. Wonder Woman 84 coming to HBO Max. Your thoughts?
I mean, it's just the huge difference, of course, is the movies that Universal is choosing to do that with, like Freaky, are low-budget movies.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is like meant to be one of, if not the biggest movie that we're going to have this year.
Yeah.
It's got to be crazy because we know that all these decisions are being made so last minute. Like 1 second Soul's still theatrical, then suddenly it's HBO. Disney Plus. But here now they also have to be dealing with the fact that there's suddenly this like talk of a vaccine and. Fauci saying maybe we could start to get back to normal by April on all these factors. So I wonder, maybe it's like flip of the coin, because to me, they still know that they will lose considerable money if they do this. But again, are they just so starved for content, something to make like a little bit of money, try to boost HBO Max if they do it versus saying, okay, let's just do one more big delay. They say one more, hoping it's one more, to next summer. Again, nothing's guaranteed. They could delay till next summer and then, I don't want this to happen, but oh no, we still can't reopen. And then suddenly what do they do then? But so I just feel like, of course, they have to make a decision very soon, but I lean towards them waiting again, especially because things are looking dire in the immediate future, but a little more hopeful for a few months from now. So maybe that's where they're going to lean.
Is there hope, Spencer?
Yeah, there's hope. There's no hope of seeing Wonder Woman in a theater on Christmas. I'm sorry. You might as well get used to that now. I don't think there's any way that situation improves between now and then, as far as cases and as far as cities remaining open and stuff like that. Now, the question is there hope that it will drop in the new year on HBO Max, or will they delay till like summer 2021? I'm torn. I want to see the movie. I would definitely watch it if it were on HBO Max, but this is a theatrical release. This is something that I would totally go out and see in theaters. And if I've already seen it streaming, I probably won't bother to leave the house again in August next year to catch it on a big screen, unless it's like the most incredible thing in the world. It depends on what the internal forces and cabals within HBO and Warner are jockeying for position, because I'm sure you have people responsible for boosting subscriptions on HBO Max saying, like, we've got this thing sitting here and we're getting killed by Disney Plus. Like, this would be a huge boost to us right now. We could really use it. It'd be a big marquee thing. The people aren't watching Friends as much anymore. Hopefully,
no Snyder Cut till the end of till a while. It's not coming.
Snyder Cut's not walking through that door till next year. So they could really use it. But at the same time, you probably have to keep your filmmaker happy, Patty Jenkins, who's been insistent this entire time that this is a theatrical release, and they probably want to have a chance of making Wonder Woman 3 with her, and keeping a good relationship. So I hope they're patient. I think that we can all, if we can all just hold on a little longer, things will go back to something approaching normal. But I would understand if they made the move. What they do will tell us a lot about where their priorities are. I think if they really think HBO Max is the future of entertainment, or if they think the old world will return someday.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you make a good point about sort of the deep state civil wars within the studio, and like what needs to be a priority and what needs a little more patience. Something I was thinking about was Disney. One one of Disney's strengths has always been, or maybe it's not, and maybe I'm wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like one of their strengths has always been they go big. They make a big ass decision and they marshal all their forces behind it. We saw it earlier this year with, okay, streaming's the way. We're not going to worry about theatrical nearly as much. Streaming is where we're putting all of our eggs, all of our little Mickey Mouse shaped eggs.
All of our frog eggs.
Yeah, all of our frog eggs.
Just be careful who's watching them.
Man, everyone got very upset about the eggs.
Do you know you could buy an official hoodie of Baby Yoda eating those eggs? Anyway, a little tangent. I just happened to see that this morning.
I kind of want to own that. To own the libs. Where was I? Sorry, I started just thinking
like the rest of the world, we got sidetracked by frog egg discourse.
Eggs in the basket, streaming.
Yeah.
There we go.
They weren't fertilized yet, you guys. Anyway, is there a benefit for HBO Max sort of adopting a similar strategy? You know, with as much cool stuff as I feel like they have coming, his Dark Materials season 2 and maybe season 3 aren't going to match a Star Wars show as far as subscribers go, and their new DC spinoffs and stuff aren't going to be here for a good minute. So is there a benefit to saying, you know what, screw it, we're going to judge Wonder Woman's success solely on metrics, maybe take a box office hit and just go solely on streaming metrics and how many subscribers it can bring in by dropping it on HBO Max on Christmas Day, to go up against Soul?
I think that they just, the reason we still haven't seen a giant franchise sequel make this move to streaming is I think that they're afraid, and I think it's a credible fear, is that once they do that, can you change people's expectations going forward, on a movie that you're spending $200 million on? Because there's, like we said, you can put Trolls 2 straight to VOD, and you can put Freaky in theaters for 3 weeks and then right to VOD, because those are much more low budget movies. But with these giant tentpoles, I think that they know once they do that, it will make it very hard to go back to Wonder Woman 3 being theatrical if it was a mostly straight to streaming thing, even though streaming is the future. And they want to have these giant titles, and they're working on a bunch of cool DC, hopefully cool DC shows for HBO Max. But there's still something different about the bright, shiny, giant movie event, and that's why none of them have done it yet. And I think that, just the fact that in the past week, there's been this little bit of hope with a vaccine, and there might actually be a time halfway through next year where things might be a little more normal-ish, that might make them pause from making what would have been sort of the biggest decisions yet, as far as the Black Widows and Wonder Woman's and the Bonds of the world.
Yeah. Well, to that sort of hope comment, Sky the Boss 96 in chat has faithfully figured all this out. They say, I think that WB should delay Wonder Woman 84 till March 2021 with a theatrical release with partnership with AMC for 21 days, roll it out, then release it on HBO Max for $15.99 on streaming. They have fixed it.
There you go. I'll figure it out.
HBO Max Premiere.
So almost like a hybrid of Universal's deal with AMC and
just conjured that cat.
She has thoughts on streaming.
It's like a hybrid of the AMC deal and the Mulan drop on Disney Plus almost.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting. I don't know. I think they got to make a call at some point instead of just going, April sounds hopeful, maybe. I don't know, man. The 1918 flu lasted a while, even once they had a vaccine. In 1918, they weren't going to the AMC for at least another year after the vaccine came out. So maybe just drop the thing.
Yeah, I feel like most other studios were way more conservative when they pushed back their films. They punted to late 2021 or TBD 2021 and stuff like that. It's just, we keep getting kind of teased by Wonder Woman because it keeps getting pushed back by increments, a few months here, a few months there. Yeah. And I don't know why that is.
Well, it has been a weird Price is Right game, right? but just with dates. And everybody else went way this way. And for whatever reason, Warner Brothers was like, no, man, I think that washing machine costs $30. And so we're going
It's funny because I wondered why more movies didn't do what, when they just finally Disney moved Free Guy and Death on the Nile off of December, and they didn't give a new date. And I wondered why more of the movies didn't do that. And then I realized that the problem is that the second that there actually is like hey, everything's okay, reopen theaters, if none of them had dates, it would be this insane rush to jump and to like grab, because it's all crossing your fingers. It's all being like, hey, if I grab this July 2021 date, hopefully everything's good by then. But if they were all undated, it would be pretty funny to see how insane it would get with them all trying to claim super quickly the second that, the thumbs up was given to reopen.
I wonder what the weird physical challenge like all of their CEOs have to do in order to claim those first dates back. Like, is there a Legends of the Hidden Temple situation? Like a gut situation? Aggro crag to climb?
Man, yeah, all these millionaire CEOs having to run up the ladder. Literally.
I'm sure it's just like a high stakes like Texas Hold'em game where like they all have like a revolver pointed at each other's genitals. It's the only way they can feel anything.
So they're going to the money plane, is what you're saying?
Definite money plane situation.
Yes. Well, if you've ever wanted to see the CEO of Warner Brothers bang an alligator.
Money plane.
Money plane.
For the Dune release date. Money plane.
We wanted to, as always, say thank you guys for watching the show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. We sure do appreciate it. We got a Fandom 5 this Friday. This one's going to be cool. It's a little different, and you picked a great time for me to have to explain the new thing and start attacking my hand. So we have new Xbox and PlayStation consoles dropping. So we are going to do a Fandom 5 around Xbox fans and PlayStation fans. As usual, you're going to be able to come in, answer questions, win real money, show off your knowledge. But we're also going to do something maybe a little different this time, where we're going to pit Xbox fans and PlayStation fans against each other. So not only can you come in and win some real money, but not unlike bragging rights, the WWE pay-per-view extravaganza, Eric, you can win some bragging rights for your console of choice. So there's a link and information in the description. Check that stuff out. November is also Veterans Day here in the United States, and so that means we are spotlighting our friends over at Stack Up. We really appreciate you guys taking a second out of your day today to follow the link in the description to Stack Up to find out a little more about what they do. Stack Up brings veterans and civilians together through a shared love of gaming. They serve U.S., allied service members, veterans, and civilians to assist in crisis intervention, suicide prevention, and issues concerning mental health through gaming and community. Some of the stuff they do is so cool. Like they have people just on Discord servers, 24/7 and stuff like that, because sometimes it's, the suicide hotline is great, but sometimes it's a lot to ask someone to just pick up a phone, and it's so much easier to just chat to a peer, so they do a lot of really amazing work. November is their call to arms. It's their biggest fundraising push of the year. So please take a second to see how you can get involved, how you can help. Lots of streamers and stuff doing all sorts of cool events all month. So I think they have a schedule over there on their website. So you can go watch some cool stuff and find a way to support. Yeah. We got some quick news hits, Lilo and Stitch and some Thor Love and Thunder. These are via to her. So John M. Chu is in early talks to direct a live action Lilo and Stitch film. That's all we got, news wise on that. Chu's a cool director. Disney's obviously not going to stop making live action stuff because it makes money, except for Mulan. Reactions. A live action Stitch terrifies me. Like, I don't even like animated Stitch, honestly. There's something weird about him.
First of all, that is blasphemy. Yeah, it's funny. I am not nearly as negative. I'm not blanket statement negative, I should say, on these remakes in that, I thought Alice in Wonderland was terrible and Lion King was super, what the hell was even the point? But I actually liked Mulan and Beauty and the Beast. However, Lilo and Stitch is one that there is something about that story and that character that I do cringe at them trying to make a live action version of it. And I love Lilo and Stitch, but that one I'm a little like, I don't know, guys, maybe just let people enjoy the cartoon on this one. I don't know if I'm just being precious because I like it so much.
I mean, you got to have faith that Disney can Imagineer something adorable out of anything, right? Like they can Detective Pikachu it. It'll be cute. The problem for me is I'm about to get a lot of hate for this, or at least a lot of, oh my God, but I've never seen Lilo and Stitch. Or is it Lilo? Ooh. Who's to say? I've never seen the movie.
The secret is revealed at the end of the movie, so you have to watch it.
Maybe they tell you at the end. That one slipped through the cracks for me. It looks fun. I think there's some surfing involved. It seems to be on some type of island and an alien. And that's about the end of my knowledge of that thing. Yeah, so it'll be nice for me because maybe the first time I'll catch it will be the live action remake, and I won't have the same complaint, which is why did they do this? A perfectly good one already exists.
You know what? That's a healthy way to look at this, Spencer. You can walk into this one without any preconceptions,
yeah.
Or they better not have done this to my brother. I like to live on the edge, and I believe that fear is healthy. So I don't want them to Detective Pikachu Stitch. I want them to Talking Candelabra Stitch. Like, I just want them to look scary and grotesque.
You're right. This is Cronenberg week after all, so they should make it a horrifying puppet. Yeah.
There you go.
If you don't Cogsworth Stitch, like you. Point.
Add more goo.
Yeah, you Brundlefly Stitch.
So much goo. Grundle Stitch.
Yeah.
Give us Grundle Stitch.
Oh no.
The other quick bit of news we have is that it's been confirmed that Chris Pratt will appear in Thor: Love and Thunder. I guess we could assume with that news that he's playing Star-Lord, although I think it would be kind of funny if he just did something else completely different for this movie. It's not a huge surprise because his last moments in Avengers Endgame were him and Thor having a nice little back and forth about who was in charge of their ship. I'm very excited about this movie. And cool. You want to throw Star-Lord in? Sure, throw Star-Lord in. It seems like there's a whole bunch going on already. But if anyone can manage just the pure lunacy, I feel like it's Taika. So yeah, toss him in.
They were really fun together in Infinity War with like the sort of jealousy, trying to one up each other. Also, it's funny to you have to keep remembering that how much the James Gunn rehiring screwed up the entire Phase 4 plan because Guardians 3 was supposed to kick it off. Guardians 3 is supposed to be the movie that had been delayed all year from COVID.
Oh yeah. Sure.
And so because it's now going to be like a multi-year delay because of the rehiring and Suicide Squad and now COVID. So I think that they definitely know we need the Guardians to, not only does it make sense because they were last seen together, but also they don't want to go 4 to 5 years without the Guardians having any on-screen presence. So I'm guessing Bradley Cooper, his voice might be heard in this movie too. I don't know if all 5 of them are going to be in it, but I could just see them getting a couple of them in it. It makes sense story-wise, and they have had a fun dynamic already established, so it all lines up nicely.
Spencer, how good will Thor: Love and Thunder be, and why is the answer great?
The answer is great because I watched Taika Waititi direct a goddamn Coke commercial over the weekend, and it was great. That shouldn't be allowed. So the fact that he has ostensibly free reign to tell a story and to go even more crazy than he did with Ragnarok. There's no sure thing, but it's a sure thing. This is going to be a great movie.
Do you guys think they'll, with their not just being thunder, but also love in this movie, do you think... because Guardians 2 ended setting up this whole new group that I'm assuming will get some screen time, because I mean it was Sylvester Stallone and like Miley Cyrus and Smallville's Michael Rosenbaum. These are A-list performance. So I'm assuming that won't be a small part of Guardians 3. I'm assuming that that'll be a pretty big part of Guardians 3. Do you think they'll shunt the Gamora, chasing Gamora into Love and Thunder?
I don't know. I mean, Thor has a long history of just completely ignoring what came before. Like, remember all of his friends? Goodbye, friends. Oh, all my friends died. Oh, bummer. And then same with that, although she's back in this one with Jane Foster, where he's like, yeah, Jane and I we broke up, whatever. Yeah. So he could just be like, yeah, wasn't that weird? I met Stallone. And now, I wonder what he's up to now. I guess we'll never know. Yeah. So I can totally see them not picking up that thread. Stallone, by the way, is going to be in the Suicide Squad, connecting this human centipede of James Gunn, Guardians, and Suicide Squad.
Which means they'll all be in Devil All the Time too on Netflix.
I see, because I don't think Pratt's going to be like in the entire movie. There's already a lot to juggle in this film, including the return of Jane Foster and her becoming a Thor. But I do think that it's the easiest thing to happen is for Star-Lord to like leave 20 minutes in to go find that other Gamora out there, But if they could try to connect it a little bit more directly as far as the reconnection of the love and the thunder that's going on in this film. But I think that this movie won't deal with that, but it can always be kind of like how Age of Ultron made sure to have Falcon and Cap talk for a second about the search for Bucky. It's like you kind of remind people that's a thing that we're going to deal with in another movie that you can go see in a couple years. So
you're saying that in this Thor movie, the tables are going to turn a little bit, and Star-Lord is going to be in the Vision hot tub.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Vision hot tub sounds like a hot tub that for Paul Bettany. Hot tub that gives you
he demands it on all his sets, I hear.
Yeah. He really is a real sumbitch. I'm super excited about whatever this weird movie becomes, whether Sif shows up and also please make sure Sif shows up.
Yes.
I'm so excited that the secret to getting Natalie Portman to come back was just, what if your part didn't suck? So yeah, I'm super stoked about this one. Thor Ragnarok is my favorite MCU movie, so I'm pumped about this one as well. Any closing thoughts on Thor, Love or Thunder? They don't have to be related. Eric, what are your thoughts on Love?
I'm for it. I'm pro love. I know it might be controversial, but I endorse love.
No, I appreciate that. Spencer, thoughts on Thunder?
Thunder? Ooh, I actually got caught in a thunderstorm for the first time in my life a couple months ago. Pretty scary. You feel very vulnerable. And I was holding an umbrella, like a really long metal rod. Just ditched it. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to throw this to the side and get another umbrella at a gas station or something.
I forget sometimes. Yeah, you're a sweet, innocent California boy.
Yeah, and it's like coming down on like it was back when all the fires were happening. Like it burned down a lot of the area I was in at the time. So it was definitely hitting the ground. I was like, not worth it. I'm just gonna do a slight jog to shelter
and get away from all the electricity in the sky. Speaking of electricity, you guys are coming in hot with some questions. Let's answer some of them. Adam Holbert, hello, Adam, asks, what mistakes from the Marvel Netflix shows should the Disney Plus Marvel shows avoid?
I think they've already done it.
Don't waste Sigourney Weaver.
Don't waste Sigourney Weaver.
That's a very good lesson.
Never put Sigourney in the corner. They've already done it. It's like cut off 2 to 4 episodes. There was always like 2 to 4 episodes of Daredevil or Jessica Jones or Punisher where you could be like, they could kind of condense that, I think. Or like they could have used that budget to maybe make a bigger payoff later. And I think that all the Disney Plus stuff is like 6 to 8 episodes, something like that.
There's some whole speculation about WandaVision is going to be 6 hours for
6 hours.
Cut up between a 30-minute sitcom themed episodes. But yeah, for the most part, it'll be 6 hour longish.
Yeah, I think every Marvel Netflix show had a couple filler eps, and if you can make it all killer no filler, then you're in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked a lot of the Netflix stuff. I certainly think Daredevil in its totality is a pretty great superhero show. But yeah, there was sometimes the filler. I also felt like I wish they would have embraced more. And I know this is always the controversial, like serialized or case of the week or a hybrid. But I always felt like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if like Daredevil, if we'd seen like a couple more just, random law cases or Jessica Jones do like an actual like superhero related case of the week mixed in with her serialized story for the season. They got very entrenched in only doing like a serialized story, and these people kind of have cool, fun, especially Jessica Jones. And I really love the first season Jessica Jones, but it's like the whole idea that she could be solving weird, quirky, superhero related cases didn't really figure in week to week. Oh, I shouldn't say week to week, because it dropped all at once, episode to episode, because it was always about like one big story.
Honestly, yeah, I think it would have been fun, like if every now and then, instead of stretching the serialized, where it's like you could have condensed that if you broke them up, and occasionally it's like, yeah, Paste Pot Pete thinks his wife's cheating on him, so he hired Jessica Jones to go take pictures of her. Yeah, I think that could have been fun. Mine was just going to be an Iron Fist dig, because that show was bad. So they've done my fix. It seems like the creators and cast of Shang-Chi are actually going to bother to teach their star martial arts. And
I will be one of those people who says Iron Fist season 2 was okay, but I completely understand you never watching it because Iron Fist season 1 was so abysmal. So I'm not saying you have to go see season 2.
No, I don't. I don't think I did. I don't even think I did.
It was decent. The new showrunner helped a lot, which I think the strong showrunners of these Disney Plus shows is a good thing that they've taken. Not that some of I don't know the exact details of all the showrunner shows, but with like Favreau and Mandalorian, or when you hear like, oh, She-Hulk, we got Chloe Zhao, or I'm mixing it up with Eternals, but you hear they name these big showrunners that are in good hands, that then you can bring in fun collaborating directors to do the episodes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Lisa Mortini asks, I feel like this is an easy question, but it's a fun one. Would you prefer to be a dancing featured extra in a Bollywood movie or have a starring role in a U.S. reality TV show?
That's actually tough for me. Because, I mean, being an extra is really thankless. And, like, you're spending hours and hours and hours on a set with, like, nothing going on. And they're just corralling you. And they're treating you like cattle. Also,
there's something going on, Spencer. There's the Bible person. There's the 9/11 was a hox person.
Yeah, and you have to talk to the other extras about Nexium and how you need to check it out.
Yeah, exactly. There's always something fun going on back there.
And a starring role in a U.S. reality show, like as horrific as that would be, and as much of a lack of shame that would require, I think that like you could then kind of coast for the next few years, like selling weight loss tea on Instagram. Or whatever branded thing you can cook up, that like if I was a notorious person on Big Brother or whatever, that I could just kind of cash out for a few years. So that's a coin flip for me. I can't decide. You take a pick.
Eric?
Well, the nice thing, if you were a dancing featured extra in a Bollywood movie, then I assume that would come with being a talented dancer. So, there's a skill I could use, both to for entertainment and money purposes elsewhere, I suppose. So I guess I'll take that one, even though, of course, you're right, Spencer, about the actual thankless nature of the extra thing. But I could be the breakout person, amongst there. It's like the chorus girl who gets, spotted. So I'll take that.
I was going to go Bollywood dancer because just in terms of life experience, that I feel like that would be really dope and fun. But Spencer has swayed me with base capitalist greed. And, if I can coast by selling ball pills on social media for a while, if I can go sell some brain pills on Parler,
go full influencer.
Joe Starr, Mind Force.
You get paid even if you don't win, right? What reality shows would you guys choose? I actually think Spencer would be really good at The Circle, or at least it would be really fun to see Spencer do The Circle.
I would enjoy that one. Yeah. I think I could catfish with the best of them.
I don't think I'd be good at The Circle, but I think that would be the most fun.
Yeah.
To do. Eric, you're a Survivor fan, right?
I'm a Survivor obsessive. I've seen everything.
Okay, that's right.
Survivor, yeah.
So you've already got your plan for how you'd survive.
Yeah. Yes, I got my survival plan. And I noted that Netflix is doing a weird thing where they're like licensing. Well, I'm sorry, CBS is doing a weird thing where they're licensing random seasons to Netflix of some of their shows non-exclusively, and they picked 2 random seasons of Survivor. And I had thoughts about which seasons they should have picked, but that's a whole other conversation, guys.
I think the only other. I now very much want to be on the Great British Pottery Throwdown, but it's going to take a whole lot of work before I can get there. Like,
get on that wheel.
Yeah, I got to get on that wheel, baby. If you guys haven't watched it, it's fun and relaxing and weirdly sexual. Watch it. I think it's worth it. What performances are so good that you forgive the poor accent work? Adam Holbert has an example. Sean Connery in The Untouchables.
So it is interesting because when someone does a bad accent, it can really throw you, and so you sometimes might think that's a terrible performance, and you kind of have to be like, but is it? Because I do always think about, Keanu Reeves, who I love Keanu Reeves, but I do, I think he's limited into say you can't do everything with Keanu Reeves, and he's done a couple of sort of notably bad British accents. But I will say The Devil's Advocate is one where he does a really terrible Southern accent, but I actually thought he was giving a good performance. But it was hard for me to realize I thought he was giving a good performance, because at first I'm like, Keanu, come on, man, you can't do a Southern accent. But I was like, oh, he's doing a really good job here. I just wish he dropped that Southern accent that isn't quite selling.
I finally saw Devil All the Time. Speaking of weird devil-themed Southern things, and I know people were ripping on Pattinson's accent a lot, but then I read an interview where instead of working with a traditional dialect coach, he just listened to televangelists and just based the voice on a hybrid of those. I loved his weird showman televangelist Elvis accent in Devil All the Time. I thought he gave just he sounded like those people. He sounded like those monorail salesmen from Kentucky that I grew up watching. So I really dug that. Spencer J.
I mean, this is sacrilege, but it is the great performance. I don't think it's poor accent work. I just have questions, and that is Hans Gruber in Die Hard. He sounds more like a British born and raised English speaking man putting on a German accent rather than somebody born and raised in Germany who learned to speak English. So, but in my mind, like, I can concoct a backstory where, like, he was born in East Germany and then he was sent off to Oxford or something, and he like received pronunciation or something like that. But I think canonically, like, he's just a German guy and he sounds like Alan Rickman, which is an amazing accent. But but sometimes you forget he's German in the movie. So yeah, that would be my pick.
He's like, this guy's just generally European. I thought no one hit the Russian accent well in Chernobyl at all. Like, you could just hear the British left and right. The only other one I know, they're supposed to be British accents. The one that always made me feel sad is in Black Hawk Down. It's just like a tour de force of British actors doing acceptable to great Southern and Texas accents, except poor Orlando Bloom. And he only has like 3 lines in the movie, but he just can't do it. And then some of his scenes he speaks directly after like a Sam Shepard scene. And I mean, Sam Shepard is the American South. Like, he is those accents. And so you come from Sam Shepard delivering like a fiery monologue to Orlando Bloom just desperately trying to figure out what a y'all sounds like. Poor guy.
I think one of their sort of famous one, because as far as people, he's so lovable and likable, and he's doing such a terrible accent, is Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins.
Sure.
Doing like such
That's its own thing.
Ridiculous,
I don't know what that is.
Cockney, trying to be sort of this accent, but I don't know what he's doing accent-wise, but he's Dick Van Dyke. How can you not like the guy?
Well, this question is this last one is more of a bit of a self-reflection one for the 3 of us. And if one of the 3 of us is not the answer and it's another member of the team, so be it. Rob Turner asks, which of you would be trusted the most to look after a jar of bees?
I just know not me, because I'm clumsy, so I'd knock over the jar and all the bees would get out, and then we'd
knock over the jar.
How much looking after does a jar of bees? It seems like your work is done. They've been jarred.
But is the work done, man? 'Cause I feel like I'd want to like maybe open the jar once.
Okay, then I guess me, because I would just place the jar out of reach of my toddler and say, "Don't touch the jar," and there it would sit. Do I have to keep the bees alive? I guess that would.
I think that's a part of it. Yeah, I think whatever state they're given to you in, they should stay in that state. So if they're dead, please don't resurrect them. If they're alive, don't kill them.
Okay, then maybe not me, because my second question is, what do bees eat?
Look this up. This feels like a PA job, and as the only person who at one point had the job of just like making sure Jason Mewes gets into a room, I feel like.
I think we've all worked PA jobs before, but yes, that is
for the team specifically, though. Yeah.
Right. For this team.
Yeah, no, I was barely able to make sure Jason showed up, so I would not be trusted with the jar of bees. I feel like I would try to take one of them out and do a Seinfeld voice with it, and yeah, I can't be trusted with the bees. No bees for me. That's all this part of the show. We do have a cool treat for you guys. Eric, set this up.
There is a new show debuting on Disney Plus. You've heard of those guys. This Friday, called Marvel's 616. You've heard of those Marvel guys too. This is a docu-series, and it's kind of about Marvel and how it sort of affects different facets of just a lot of different things. So one episode is about Japanese Spider-Man. How the hell did that happen?
Yes.
And one episode is about cosplayers. And they got a lot of interesting people to make these episodes. Some are sort of traditional documentarians and reality TV people. But I spoke to some people you might recognize who made episodes, which is Paul Scheer, who directed one about obscure characters. And then if you like Community like me, Allison Brie and Gillian Jacobs both directed episodes of this show. Allison's is about theater, like high school kids doing productions based on Marvel characters. And Gillian is about female creators at Marvel, kind of going back from the beginning, who've worked on their comics. So yeah, just kind of a cool show where each episode is very different stylistically and different approach. So spoke to those guys and a couple of the producers about the show and the making of it.
Awesome.
Check it out now.
Beep, boop, bop, bop, beep, beep. Play.
Stan always said that the Marvel Universe is the world outside your window. And that people could find characters they could see themselves in.
Allison, Gillian, can you talk about how you first both got involved with this? What were your first conversations like to do this project?
Basically, it started with a very brief text just saying, "Did you do theater in high school?" To which I replied, "Have you met me?" And that led to a phone conversation with Brian and Jason and myself where they talked about the series. They were already midway into shooting. Gillian had shot an episode. They were outlining the Marvel Spotlight program to me, which is the thing that my episode is about, which is a series of one-act plays about characters within the known Marvel universe who are in high school, and the plays are written for high schoolers to be performed by high school students. And so right away, I just felt a connection to that.
And then I came to this project because the first documentary I worked on was produced by Dan Silver when he was at ESPN, and he is now at Disney Plus. And he, along with Jason and everyone at Supper Club, conceived of this 616 series. So I'd stayed in touch with Dan, and he suggested that I get together with Jason and everyone at Supper Club and talk about potentially directing an episode. So we had a very nice coffee, and we discussed what I could possibly do, and we sort of came to this idea of women within Marvel Comics.
The show is really interesting because it doesn't stick to one set style. You really mix up how each one kind of approaches its topic. Did you know from the get-go that that's kind of how you wanted to go into it, is not be like, every episode will feel like this?
When we looked at this series, we wanted it to mirror a lot of what Marvel is known for. So when you look across our comic books, right, you're going to have stuff with more of a humor tone and stuff with more of a street level gritty tone, stuff with a classic comic tone. And we wanted to do the same thing with this series. We wanted to approach it where anyone coming in who is a fan of Marvel, or to be frank, maybe isn't even a fan of Marvel, but is just a fan of nonfiction, great visual nonfiction storytelling, could open this up on Disney Plus, find an episode, and have it really connect with them.
And Paul, what were your first conversations like with them about what they were doing and how you would do your episode?
Well, I got into this in a very interesting way. I was working with the production company that put this together, Supper Club, on a different project. And they were saying, look, we have this idea. We're working with Marvel right now and Disney Plus, and we really can't talk about it, but is that, a world that you would be interested in? And of course, yes, 100% I'd be interested in that. That's like the dream come true.
But when you're doing an episode like Paul's, how much is it like kind of planning ahead versus finding where the story takes you and kind of going on to some strange tangents that become great moments?
Yeah, for me, I'd never done a documentary before. I've directed television. I've, written my own things. And what I kind of found with documentary was, the best documentary allows you to go in with a plan. We knew what we wanted to do, explore these characters. And the hope was, well, maybe we'd find something here. And as we got certain people together and we started to hear about these characters, it did start to snowball a little bit. And we changed our perspective. Like for me, even though my doc is very comedic, I don't even know if it started out that way. I think we were going to be like, I think the comedy will be in the characters and the reasoning behind these characters. And I had a thought about some of the characters that we were going to explore. And I in my head wrote out the answers. I was like, well, they'll say this and then we can go here. And I will say that my research was wrong, because when I sat down with people, the people who are already on record about certain things, they changed their point of view. We got to get into a deeper world. And so that was really fun.
Jason, did you always know that you wanted to kind of mix up who was making these? Because you've got some people who have sort of a deep documentary background, but then you've got these performers and artists from different fields.
Yeah. It was something we purposefully wanted to do, by the nature of us being in the documentary space. We obviously we know a bunch of people and we always love the filmmakers who are within our community. But the thing that I feel presented as an opportunity with a series like this was to find new voices and find new perspectives on things. And the nature of going to people like Allison and Gillian and a Paul Scheer and a Sarah Ramos, people who are familiar with filmmaking, but maybe not in this format. The thing we really wanted to do is create basically a support system to where people can focus on what they want to do creatively and find their way into the documentary format.
Gillian, you talked to all these amazing creators. I read a lot of those comics growing up. Power Pack was one of my favorites. What was it like for you to kind of hear their stories firsthand and kind of learn all the different thresholds they were crossing?
Well, so by the time I actually got to sit down with June Brigman and Louise Simonson, I had read their original run on Power Pack and I had become fans of theirs. And I was sad that I hadn't read Power Pack as a kid because I think I would have loved it. So I'm jealous that you read it as a kid. And so it was really cool to hear about how Louise really intentionally wanted to create a comic for a younger audience, for littler kids, and that she and June created this comic, and June, had not really been an artist behind an entire comic book series before. So it was really the two of them together crafting this thing that was kind of unique within Marvel at the time. So yeah, I was kind of nervous by the time I got to sit down with them because they were these figures in my mind, and I got June to sketch out some of the characters for me. And so it was a really cool experience.
Allison, it is very easy to quickly love these kids and get very involved with their stories. And then there's some parts where they're so emotional and nervous. For you making this, was it kind of a little difficult almost to remain dispassionate versus these kids, wanting to connect with them?
Oh, yeah. You're right. I fell in love with the kids immediately. Absolutely. And I think that so many of the things that they're struggling with are incredibly universal and are things that I continue to struggle with as an adult. And I found them to be incredibly profound in their ability to be so vulnerable with us and also so aware, so self-aware, to be able to talk about the things that they are going through.
As someone who does love sort of the more obscure Marvel characters, if you ever get to do a follow-up, Paul, could you please do one on Kickers Inc., my favorite football team turned superheroes?
My gosh, I love that. Look, there's so many things I want to talk about. I mean, if I had my druthers, let's bring back Craptastic, B-sides. They're basically they're almost like teenage X-Men. Let's grow them up. Let's see where they are now. And if we do this series, I want to be Dirk Angler, who is a low-rent Nick Fury. Let's do it. Let's see where these characters are.
Paul has like an 8-part series.
I'm ready. I am ready to go.
But you need to know.
We barely scratched the surface on our doc in the sense of just having these conversations about these characters, because exactly what you just did right there, everyone has one of those. We did a series, Sarah and I, online where we talked about everyone's first foray into certain books, and everyone's got their kickers.